Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. This is Kelsey here today with Chris Galloway. He's the CFO and one of the founding members at Prime Car Wash. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kelsey.
Yeah, happy to have you. So Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a father of three daughters, 9, 8 now, and then soon to be 6. Me and Hazel.
Aww.
That's the light of my life.
Yeah.
Wonderful daughters. I spend a lot of time with them. So that's my evenings from probably 4 or 5 till I go to sleep, and then my mornings are taken up between probably anywhere from 3 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. running, depending on when I get. So I do a lot of that, and
Holy
then
cow.
yeah, and then in between I do business.
So business, talking about business. Tell me about Prime Car Wash.
So Prime Car Wash was founded in 2011 from a legal standpoint, on the desire to fill a void here in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
In the car wash space, and that void, I guess, was somewhere in between Crew and Sparkling Image. I guess it was Mike's at that point, but the need was, when you're getting the interior car cleaned, having some place to comfortably sit and do business, and transact without being subjected to the weather.
Yeah.
One of the founding partners, who is no longer a managing partner now, but actually had the idea, was at Sparkling Image, and his wife walked across the street to Starbucks and came back and said, "Why can't we just have a cafe attached to this car wash?" Better. And then so the light bulb went off in his head, and at that time I was, by trade, I'm a chiropractor, so at that time I was his chiropractor, and he came in to the office one day in early 2011 with that idea, and I had another business partner at that time in the chiropractic practice, who's been a lifelong friend and the current CEO of Prime.
Yeah.
And we both liked the idea, got a hold of some financials to see what was possible, and then we started going to banks, and that process took probably about a year to get financed, and then we were up and built by August of 2012.
Wow.
That's how Prime was born. We put together the brand, the design of the building. We got a general contractor, an architect, an engineer, and a brand developer,
Yeah.
and then we hired a car wash consultant from a place called Car Wash College,
Yeah.
Northeast, and then we got one going, and it took off fast. Met
Yeah.
our financial assumptions, and then at that point we knew that was going to be what we were going to be doing.
Mhm.
And I made an exit from the chiropractic profession. We sold our practice, my partner and myself, and still love the profession, by the way.
Yeah.
But it made more sense. I mean, I've already told you my love for my family, to
Yeah.
more flexible schedule, and well, I guess that's kind of a oxymoron there. Not really more flexible, but the percent more flexible.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so I guess that's the beginning of it. You can
Yeah.
delve in any more and ask some specific questions from there.
Yeah, so kind of for those of our listeners who aren't necessarily in Indianapolis or familiar with Prime Car Wash, can you walk me through the layout and what makes Prime Car Wash different than other, in its industry?
Yeah. So we're what's called a flex service car wash. You have the option of getting the exterior only cleaned. You drive through a conveyor tunnel to do that, and then after you exit the conveyor, you can either get your towel dry and move on,
Mm-hmm.
or you can move into a bay. There's 4 rows housing 16, probably 16 cars at any one time.
Wow.
3 of them are for basic cleans, and the 4th row is a detail bay. So it's the flex service model allows us to increase the amount of by marketing and branding, or what we're selling, to increase our amount of exteriors, or increase our amount of interiors, or increase our amount of details. So there's a market need for all of those things, and based on what area of the country we are and what demographic we are within the specific area. Sorry, I got a call here.
No, you're good.
Okay, yeah, based on the we can focus on the model a little differently. Like here in Indianapolis, we've got somewhere we'll focus on trying to drive exteriors more, just based on some interior competition, and then some we will drive the interior clean more due to having no competition and a high net worth demographic.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of the model. We're now franchisors.
Yep.
So we have a lot of new franchise partners who are going to have to deal with different different environments, and I think our model as a franchisor can weather really any market.
That was going to be my next question, was talking about, because you said, other locations. So I said, oh, wow, you must have been able to, franchise out, right?
Yeah, so we're really kind of new into that process. We have one other market in Florida. We got 6 car washes here, one getting ready to be built here in Indianapolis, greater Indianapolis area. And then we've got 2 in Jacksonville, Florida, that are started out as a joint venture. And these are guys that I grew up with, my best friends.
Yeah.
Wanted to do the model. One of the guys was in private equity, and he was selling some car washes for one of his buddies down there. He saw the model and he was like, man, this is really, this is something that we should get involved in. And so we started out as a joint venture, but due to some lending constraints with the SBA, it really forced us into the franchise model, because our SBA dollars were getting connected to their SBA dollars, and it stopped. That was our model. We looked SBA to mitigate the bank's risk on the front end, and then we refinance them out into conventional loans after they're up and cash flowing. So that really forced us into the franchise model, and now we've got, I believe, 9 signed franchise agreements with partners across the United States. Nashville, Philly, Dayton, Columbus, Cincinnati, Ohio, those, Pennsylvania, Louisville, and Fort Wayne, Indiana are all the markets building out right now, and in various stages of financing or land acquisition or land hunting.
Those are all fantastic, areas as well. So I'm sure that, Prime will do well in those areas. There's certainly, a need everywhere, but great fun cities too. So being over the past few years, how have you been able to work to build the brand, build the Prime name? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, throughout the years, I mean, from an operations standpoint, we had to pull together some resources to get a large operations manual that really solidifies how we process cars, how we go about every area of business, from sales and marketing to financial processes. And so when we decided to franchise and put together the franchise disclosure document, franchise agreement, of course, along that you need the operations manual. So it forced us into that arena to really solidify all those things. But from a I guess a branding and marketing standpoint, we've got a marketing director that works for us that does a lot of reach out onto social through Facebook and Google Ads, and we have done about every type of local marketing, boots on the ground type thing that you could do, and we've waxed and waned in the amount of resources that we put toward each of those type of things. Currently, we've went back to a little more boots on the ground and building things in the community. We just did something in October called the Tunnel of Terror, and where from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we've got cars running through the tunnel. They pay $20, and we've got a full staff that's made it essentially into a haunted house.
That's awesome.
And all over the news for it, backing up streets, and the cultural building that we have done
Yeah.
throughout our our locations here, and all of our staff has been awesome, both on a corporate level and from an operating location standpoint.
That's a fantastic marketing idea. I love the Tunnel of Terror. That's hysterical. And I certainly, if I was in the area, I definitely would absolutely pay to have that done as well. That's great.
It has been, because when they pitched, I'm the CFO, right? So they come to me and they pitch it to me. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this thing's going to fall on its face, just because I'm the defense of the organization. But I'm going to let them do it because I think they're going to have fun with it. And I think the employees like it. And maybe we can break even, but we have killed it. I mean, it's been, it's really kind of made the October for us in a time that is, I mean, the time we're dealing with. Things like that are refreshing amongst anxieties about inflation and potentially upcoming recession. So.
Yeah, so that's great. So Chris, if you were to leave our listeners with one thing, either about Prime Car Wash, about the space, or the industry, what would you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think as a owner and managing partner, the thing that gives me the most fulfillment about it, of course, it's got a good financial model, and is I wouldn't change that in any way. I love the financial model, but the thing that is the most fun about it for me as an operator is we have, in 5 locations, we've got at any one time between 250 and 350 employees, and a lot of those are young people, and you get to see those people come up from bay workers to shift managers to assistant general managers to general managers. And in addition to being a good business, it's very rewarding as a leader and an owner of the organization to get to see all those young people move up in the ranks, and even if they're not moving up in the ranks, developing as people, and watching the managers being able to be mentors to them, and then being able, for myself, from a personally fulfilling standpoint, being able to lead the people in the organizations and work together as a team to solve the problem of needing clean cars.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Well, Chris, thank you for being on Business Ninjas. This has been a great conversation. I love, the journey that Prime Car Wash has been on, and I really appreciate you sharing the story with me. Again, Chris Galloway, he's the CFO and one of the founding members at Prime Car Wash.